Hello everyone. I'm making this video to spread awareness and to share my experience, the experience of me and my family with COVID-19. We are all in this pandemic together and we will fight it together and emerge victorious, hopefully very soon. So here I go. It all started on 16th August when my husband, in his late 30s, he got fever, and we thought he hadn't slept for properly for the entire week. 16th was a Sunday, and the week before that he had clocked just 4 hours of sleep every night, continuously for 7 days, as clocked on his Fitbit. So we just thought it was a normal fever and it'll go away, and there was little tiredness. So he slept it off. At night, when the fever still didn't reduce, he had a Calpol, a paracetamol. Then the next day, the fever continued, day 3 again, and every time he had a Calpol, it reduced for some time, but after a couple of hours, the fever would come back. This continued for 3 days, and on day 3, our 17-month-old daughter ran high temperature. Her temperature was around 102, 103. So that time I thought maybe it was because of teething. The temperature did not reduce, but I didn't give her any medicines. It was just naturopathy, and I'm still feeding her. So every time I fed her, it would reduce. The second day of my daughter getting fever, she started having a cold, and then it and I started feeling unwell as well. So this was day 4 for my husband, day 2 for my daughter, and my day 1. When I started feeling unwell, I felt something was fishy, because one of every, like, it seemed to be spreading. And then that's when we got all of us, our parents, our respective parents, everyone tested for COVID, and 4 of us turned positive. So it was my husband, my 17-month-old daughter, me, and my 66-year-old dad, so who's also borderline diabetic. So immediately we took measures where all 4 of us quarantined ourselves in my house, and the rest of the family stayed at their respective houses. The symptoms that I had was, it started with a scratchy throat, and that was day 1. Day 2, and I kept doing saltwater gargling. I started saltwater gargling and lemon ginger shots with some honey and warm water throughout the day. And day 2 of mine, I had a continuous running nose. That running nose went on for 2 full days, and I didn't get any fever. Day 4 of mine, I got weakness in my upper arms, in my thighs, and a lot of tiredness. Day 4 and 5, between day 4 and 5, I got diarrhea, and every morning I would get diarrhea for 3 consecutive mornings, and puking. Morning, the minute I would wake up, I had to puke. Nothing came out other than phlegm, but and I felt better after that phlegm came out. So I had a lot of mucus. My daughter became okay. So on day 2 of my daughter having fever, and day 4 of my husband having fever, I contacted our family doctor, who's a homeopath, and he gave medicines for both of them. They started feeling better after that. My daughter recovered from the cold and fever in a total span of 3 days from the date it started. 3 to 4 days, maybe 4 days. And my husband's fever came down, but he started getting chills throughout the day. So he was still having fever off and on, but it came down to 100, 100.5. It was oscillating between 99 and 100.5. While I started getting chills on my day 3 and 4. I also had chills when I had a running nose. So I covered myself completely. I had a scarf wrapped around my head and neck, a full sleeves jacket, socks. So I covered myself completely. So that helped my body fight the infection inside. Then after, I think on my day 7, I started feeling better. And I had started homeopathy, the immunity building medicine. I started on that. So I was having it twice a day, the immunity building one. And I just continued doing home remedies of taking my lemon ginger shots twice a day, having kada twice a day, then salt water gargling 3 times a day, taking steam. I was taking it for 2 times a day, but my dad took it thrice a day. We were doing the same things. We included a lot more fruits and salads, vegetable juices, soups for in our food, nuts, soaked almonds, walnuts, and even the dried fruits like dried dates and figs, apricots, raisins. So we started eating really healthy, and on top of that, my dad's factory production manager, he recommended neem juice, and he made it himself. And we used to send our car and driver to Kapoli, all the way to Kapoli, to fetch that those bottles of neem juice. I had lost my sense of smell and taste, so thankfully the good part was I could dunk down that neem juice 3 times a day, daily, without feeling much or anything. I could hardly, you can imagine how much my smell and taste had gone that I couldn't really taste neem juice. So that was a good thing. Then we used to put some drops of ghee in our nostrils in the mornings. And yes, I think we took all precautions, and I would generally wear socks in the day if I started feeling a little cold. I would always be fully covered to help my body fight whatever was happening inside, because I know my body is the most intelligent part of me, and knows exactly what it needs to do when it's under a threat. So I just had a lot of confidence in it, and taking care of a toddler while having this COVID-19 myself, and having a cranky toddler with me, because she was also suffering at some level, but it was not as bad as ours. It did take a toll, and keeping the house also in a habitable state. Luckily, the food used to come from my mother's house, which is in the same building, so I didn't have to worry about that, at least the big meals. So we continued this for about 14-15 days from the date of our test. As regards my 66-year-old dad, he developed a scratchy throat, and gradually within 2 days of time he had developed a dry cough. After that he had little weakness on and off, but otherwise he was fine. He, being an avid yoga practitioner, he had religiously and regularly practiced yoga asanas for 1 hour daily since the lockdown was announced in India. So he continued his pranayam once he was detected with COVID, and he came over to my house. He practiced pranayams twice a day, and he had his ginger lemon shots 3 times a day, salt water gargling 3 times a day, neem juice 3 times a day, but small shots of neem juice. And he also put a special ghee in his nostrils in the mornings. And he ate, as I said, he ate a lot of fruits, and the food, a lot of raw, like fruits, vegetables, steamed vegetables, sprouts, soups, vegetable juices, nuts, dried fruits. So he included everything in his diet, everything healthy in his diet. And he had a very positive attitude. He continued doing his office work, coordinating with his staff, and but of course he cut down his work hours so that he could also relax. He, within 14 days from the date his COVID positive report came, he was tested negative. So it is a very big learning from him that he always kept a positive attitude. In fact, the days when I was having extreme weakness, especially in the mornings, diarrhea, nausea, my father is the one who helped me and my daughter during those turbulent 2 to 3 hours of the mornings. He used to take care of us, and it was amazing father-daughter bonding, as I might say. COVID brought us to that. I would only want to add that pranayam and even laughter club. We started doing laughter club twice a day, and we actually noticed that if we check the oximeter and it was around 96, the minute we would do the laughter club, thereafter the oximeter would read at least 97, if not 98. So it used to go up by 1 or 2 readings, which was amazing. After 10 days of COVID, he started getting a headache though. So we were wondering what is the reason for the headache. Rest everything was pretty fine. And then we realized the zinc tablets that he was having, maybe there was an overdose of that. So he immediately, because when you're having such good food, such healthy food, you are deriving all your vitamins and minerals from that food. So in addition to that, if you take multivitamins, zinc tablets, it can lead to an overdose, which probably happened with him. So the minute he stopped his tablets, his headache disappeared. So this was our experience. I would also like to add here that in our fight with COVID, We were greatly supported by family, friends who kept us in their prayers, by also our homeopath doctor and the Health Awareness Center in Worli, who kept uh, reminding us about our body, the nature of our body, and the strength it has to fight any virus and any threat that is imposed on it. So it was really good. We were also advised to do deep breathing 5 times, 5 deep breaths 3 times a day, say Om 5 times, and it was doing all these things for ourselves, for our health benefits, really gave us that confidence that we were doing everything right to fight this virus. And we have so much knowledge here in India, and we actually sat and applied whatever we knew, whatever we had heard of, whatever we had practiced all these years. We put everything on execution mode, and 14 days rigorously we were focused on driving the virus away. One night I got breathless because of my cold. When I went to bed, I got breathless, and I was also a little hungry. Maybe that's why. I don't know what the reason was, but I immediately panicked. The minute I panicked, the oximeter showed a low reading, and I felt lightheaded. I felt dizzy, and I just didn't, it was 11:30 p.m. Everybody in my household was asleep, and so I immediately called up a family friend who was in America, and she suggested that I take the this steam by heating cloves, 7 to 8 cloves on a pan, and take steam from that by keeping my mouth open as well. And to do that for 5-7 minutes, and my oxygen levels would come up immediately, and I'll be able to breathe also properly. So I did that, but I had panicked so much that despite doing that, and I felt that I had to be rushed to the hospital. So I called up my friends living across the street and asked them to take me to a nearby hospital. While they were getting ready and while I was getting ready, and my mind shifted from the panic situation to the act of just preparing myself, getting ready for the hospital, the effect of the steam that I had taken set in, and suddenly I felt absolutely fine. I felt absolutely fine, and I just sat down. I took 5 deep breaths. I called up my friends and I said that, look, I'm fine right now. You please go to sleep. Sorry for disturbing you. I think I'm fine. Then after half an hour again, I just couldn't sleep. There was something about it. I couldn't sleep. So I called up my homeopath at 1:30 a.m. And he was so courteous and so kind to take my call at that hour. And he said, what all is happening to you? And when I explained to him everything, he said, just go to sleep. Just do some meditation or yoga nidra. Go to sleep because you are just panicking and you need to relax. Nothing is wrong with you. You are normal. This is any other kind of virus and you will be fine very soon. So don't panic. And his words really had a great impact on me. I went off to sleep by 2 a.m. and the rest of the night was uneventful. So I just wanted to share this part of my story to let people know that how panic. So I think my breathlessness was probably because of a blocked nose, because of my cold. But because I was tested positive for COVID, I panicked to another level. And I can safely say I had a panic attack that night. So thereafter, whenever I felt, so this happened subsequent twice more in my 14 days journey. But I realized the issue was going to bed on an empty stomach. So then I would immediately get up, have 2 to 3 this elaichi bananas, take steam again, the cloves, the steam of cloves, and then go to bed nicely. I wouldn't panic. I would just take 5 deep breaths and go to sleep. So this is what I did. Coming back to my husband, he after having fever for about 7 days, he became extremely weak, and though the fever was not too high, the weakness was a lot, so much so that he could barely get up from his bed. So in that event, on day 7 at night, we realized that it may be a better option to send him to a hospital, though his other parameters were fine. But it was getting a bit too much for me to take care of him as a patient, and take care of a toddler and my father, who was a senior citizen, as well as myself. I could not I was losing out on energy each day. Each day, new symptoms were cropping up, and I didn't know what was in store for me next. Plus, the body ache was for real. So after seeing, considering everything, we and also my in-laws were extremely worried for him because we were not giving him allopathy. We were giving homeopathy medicine and doing the home remedies with him as well. So they really wanted him to have allopathy, and there were calls. They were receiving calls from all well-wishers and friends suggesting the various allopathy medicines that needed to be started for him as per them. So, keeping everything in mind, we finally took a call to shift him to a hospital. Now, no hospital beds were available in New Bombay. Whichever hospital we contacted, everything was full. So, luckily, we got one bed in a twin sharing room, which actually had four beds in one room in Reliance Hospital. So, we called an ambulance and he went there. In the hospital, he was given a paracetamol for another 3 days for his fever, which was again around 100, and after 3 days of having paracetamol and a cough syrup, because he had dry cough as well, he his fever went away. That was day 10. Day 10 he didn't have any fever. He was doing better, and gradually his recovery, the improvement could be seen. He started gaining back his energy gradually, and after his stay in the hospital for 6 days, he got discharged. Now the concern was if he had got cross contaminated in a room which he shared with 3 other people, it would be a little risky to get him into our house, which had a senior citizen as well as a 17-month-old toddler, and it was very difficult to maintain a social distancing between the toddler and her father. So we decided that we will send him in a hotel for which was a quarantine facility for COVID positive patients, and it was attached to Apollo Hospital. So that where the twice a day a doctor would come and check all his parameters, and he would be taken well care of. So we took this call, and that was one of the best decisions we made, because in the hotel facility he got absolute peace and rest. He could take ample of rest, eat to his heart's content, and even catch up on all the work that he had missed out on for the last 2 weeks. So that 1 week stay in the hotel did a lot of good to him, and the follow-up test was done, the swab test, and he turned negative. So his journey was, though it had lots of ups and downs, it was still a victorious one, and it is for everyone to know that the most important thing in this disease is to stay strong, have full faith in your body and in the doctors who are treating you, and just stay calm and keep your mind busy with whatever you like to do. It could be read a book or read blogs or articles, and all happy ones. It's always good to keep your mental state happy in the midst of this storm. This is Anupama Bansal Agarwal signing off.